It is nothing. I see now that you spoke true. Never in my life have I laid eyes upon such fearsome arms.
Don't talk. I'll seal the wound.
Star Ocean Divine Force could have been a great game and had a lot of potential. But unfortunately this was far from the case at hand. After completing the game that roughly took about 45 hours give or take, I was left with a feeling of fatigue and unfulfilled satisfaction. The worst part of the game, and there are plenty to choose from, would have to be the story. I'm going to quickly explain to you why this is. You're a hero who has to save a princess from a kingdom that's wanting to take her crown. Now, if you watched any TV or played any RPG in the last decade, you would have already come across this, and probably a much better version of it. Problem with Star Ocean is that the whole setting is about futuristic tech and space travel. Don't get me wrong, I know previous games do stick you on an underdeveloped planet, so you're stuck on this planet for about 80% of the game, which is literally like the medieval period, and when Raymond shows all this futuristic tech like his mobile phone and communication system, the occupants of the planet are far too dismissing of these factors. They show an unconvincing shock and awe, which doesn't really help me get invested in the storyline if I don't believe it myself. From a floating robot spear that plays an integral part of the story later on, to a cyborg that is one of your crew members, the planet dwellers, as I say, are far too accepting of these factors. That made me a bit jarry about the story. There are many cutscenes that have a zero tone or anything exciting about them. There isn't really much banter or interesting witty dialogue between one another. It's very much just discussing the next mission or the next thing to do, moving from point A to point B, killing any self-discovery, basically what RPGs should be about. Later on in the game, story does open up a little bit and you do get to do some space adventuring. But by this time you've already been bored of the story that you're not really that interested. From all in all, from poor animations to short cutscenes that are mostly characters just standing around talking or discussing what they should do next or what the next move should be, with the exception of some battle scenes that are very short. If you're expecting lengthy duels between two characters, like something that you might see from a Final Fantasy series, don't get your hopes up too high. All in all, the story is plagued with such boring dialogue and pitiful animation that it just made it too difficult for me to get into.
Proton torpedoes away. Impact in 11 minutes.
Graphically, the game is also a big miss. As you can see for yourself, they haven't really gone for the most gripping or dashing design. They've gone for a bland anime style look, and pretty much the Tales of Arise or Scarlet Nexus show you how to truly do this, whereas Divine Force shows you how not to do this. It has no individual identity of its own or flavour for that matter. Scarlet Nexus and Tales of Arise have a unique flavour about them. Both have an animation style but are vastly different. And also the graphic really struggles on the old generation console to the new ones. For some reason there's this whole blurriness about the whole game on the old gen, where it's a lot sharper on the new gen. Not to mention some areas are very bland, such as a mountain snowy area, a forest area and a desert. You do have some others, but I forgot them to be fair, through my lengthy playthrough. There isn't any buildings or tombs or dungeons to discover, nothing from what the linear path or the story has chosen for you, so you're graphically limited to what you see in front of you. Some cutscenes have a weird shadowy effect on the faces, which was really strange. So all in all, the graphics isn't great, and you can see from yourself, it's not like the worst thing I've ever seen, but I expected a lot better. The game mechanics is a highlight at least. On this front, Ocean does do some justice, but it's a little bit too late once you've played most of the game and there's only one fun factor about it. Fights are fun and flashy, combos are different, and the skills are also fun. Switching between characters is made smooth and is a nice variety to battle. With a robust upgrade system for all unique party members as well as a skill leveling system, you would think that you're on a winning formula. Unfortunately, you're sorely mistaken. It's only because not that these factors aren't fun, but you get to experience such a minimal amount of them. There isn't very many battles within the whole game. The whole wide open vast areas have only a few enemies dotted and around within them. And if you're expecting to find some unique boss battles if you discover some sort of area, you're not going to find any. And finding weapons and accessories in that matter is also very minimal. I found about one weapon throughout my whole playthrough in a chest that I was just wandering around in. Now I can blame myself for not doing much discovery because I just didn't want to, and you're given a pointer to go to your next mission, and that really distracted me from wanting to explore. All in all, I was just very disappointed in the game. So after completing the game, I can honestly say this is below my expectations. I genuinely wanted the game to be good, but it just wasn't, no matter how I looked at it. From bad animation to boring storyline to dry cutscenes, the lack of fun battles and explorations, the fundamentals of an RPG, to the horrendous graphics and mediocre environments, I cannot recommend Divine Force at full purchase price at all.
Anyone home?